Our first piece of news this week that I'm definitely going to have some fancy feelings about is related to divorce financial planning. SecureSplit, an AtoZ communications client, just launched today. This fintech lets divorcees perform vital calculations, including alimony, child support, and other things that are either for free or for more complex calculations, there is about a $20 a month fee. This could change the game from my perspective anyway, as far as divorces, making them faster, less inefficient, and less costly. I was curious what you think about this, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, even just reading through the article, all the things that you just said, making it faster, less expensive, we're democratizing maybe some of that really quality information, because when it comes to divorce, there are obviously so many moving parts with, just for starters, the emotional aspect, which is massive. And then now you're layering on top of it all of these different weird and obscure financial laws, potentially, depending on someone's situation. Then you factor in the costs involved of, God forbid, you need to send a single email to a divorce attorney and get charged who knows what for even basic questions. So even with, you're telling me the pro version costing $20 a month and all the things that it has, I mean, that's going to pay for itself if you're going through this and you even just get one tiny little nugget of information. Geez, I mean, it's not even over the whole year, not even the cost of probably a single email to an attorney potentially.
That's very true. Actually, that's probably about not even a fifth of the cost of an email to an attorney.
Right.
You are absolutely correct. But yeah, in working with them, and shout out to Jamie Lima, who created this. He's with Allegiant Divorce Solutions. So when we first met, we basically bonded over, this is like the thing that I wish that I had 3 years ago when I started my divorce, because Lord only knows how much money I would have saved. I really appreciate what he's putting into people's hands. So he is starting out initially with the option that's available for the everyday people. And then the fourth quarter of this year, it will be available to financial advisors, mediators, divorce attorneys, basically any professional that would work with somebody who's getting divorced. So
right.
Would that be, not to put you on the spot, except I'm putting you on the spot, would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if I'm in the future, I have a situation where I'm helping some divorce clients, absolutely. I mean, if I'm able to layer in the human aspect, so of course helping at least as much as I can from the emotional side, but then also being able to provide a resource and say, hey, instead of all these back and forth with your attorney, here's some quality information. Now, again, they're still likely going to have some level of attorney involved here, but if they can at least just feel more empowered, feel like they've got even more resources, even on, we'll call it the tactical, functional, nitty gritty stuff that ultimately is going to arise, at least from the financial side in a divorce. I mean, I think that could be a huge value add. And I even see it from, it looks like even from the consumer only version, it looks like there's some level of priority booking with advisors who are specializing in divorce planning. So again, we're talking about using technology to do what technology can do. So that's getting pointed key information, but still the fact that you're able to partner with a real life human being. Because again, especially in a situation like this, there's just so much going on, like we just talked about. So being able to get this great information, but then also being able to get connected to specialists who hopefully you're going to expect them to have, pretty good empathy if they're specializing in divorce planning. You would hope, so you're not only going to get the functional knowledge, but then also the emotional side too. And hopefully that can save you a bunch of time, money, stress, and make it as seamless as a process as it possibly can be.
Absolutely. I think a key word that you said there was empowered. So actually, and you know this story, but for the sake of everybody on this podcast, among the reasons that I am now working with Brandon and not with the first financial advisor that I was working with is that he was fabulous up until I hit this divorce milestone and then basically went MIA. And that was that critical time that I need to know, am I staying in the house? What's happening with the kids? A million different things. And it's that level of uncertainty. Your life is upended, but by how much? And what do I need to be doing? And so I feel like having something like this available so that you can have that initial calm and okay, well, this is the situation. These are the facts in front of me. Now I know what I need to do and what's involved versus the ambiguity of, do I keep the house? Do I do this? Lots of different things I think could get resolved by something like this.
Yeah. Because we'll even say, if you don't mind sharing, Allie, early in that process, what did you do in order to research some of these things? Because it sounds like at first the old advisor wasn't necessarily responding to things. But so with that, were you just going on Google? I mean, this was even before AI was super popular. So you have Google. Is that what you were doing? Just trying to Google, maybe asking friends? How are you trying to gather this information.
For better or worse, I did this the expensive way, and I asked the divorce attorney because what other resource did I feel like I had? And you felt like you wanted something concrete, but not to put down divorce attorneys, because obviously they're good at what they do and quite helpful. Respectfully, they're not financial planners. That's not in the training. You don't go to law school so that you can learn the numbers and the calculations and whatnot. So
Right.
it can get quite frustrating, even in my experience, having a sit down and you agree and these are the numbers, and then the next time that you meet, no law has changed, nothing has changed, but all of a sudden we're dealing with new numbers, and it's just like, what, explain to me why, except that maybe we didn't do them right the first time, or maybe the second time we didn't do them right, but it's which one's in my favor and which one do I want. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Oh, yeah, because it's just different. I mean, we have different specialties. And even I do think one huge benefit of real financial planners is that holistic approach of truly understanding, because one certain aspect of a divorce, I'm going to get more in, say, retirement assets, for example. Maybe that's what one of the proposals is. Maybe on paper, that seems fair or equitable, however you might want to define that. But maybe a financial advisor comes in, holistically looks at the situation, is like, actually, I think you could end up taking a little bit less money because you need more liquidity. We need to focus on those things. But likely without that kind of specialty or that kind of training, it's just, here's the assets. They're 50-50. And I'm like, they might be 50-50 on paper, but does that mean that they're equal or they're in your best interest as the client? Maybe not.
Right. Exactly. And just one last point on this. So check out Jamie Lima's LinkedIn. So he had an article earlier this week about basically how impacts to our divorcees, financial planning really have a longer term impact. So to your point, you might think like 50-50, but if, for instance, you're not contributing to your retirement fund because you've gotten divorced, divorce is expensive and you can't, down the line, not doing it for 5 years, I believe he was saying was something to the tune of 150,000 with compound interest and
Sure.
just what you would put in. When you think about it, you feel like, well, that's, benign. I must have enough. And, I got to unbury myself from legal fees and whatnot. This would solve a whole lot of problems.
Right. Again, and streamline it, and also still serve that emotional job of exactly where to go for the information, and still have that human overlay for those folks that might not already be working with a good financial advisor.
Exactly. And thank you for being my good financial advisor.
Yeah. You're welcome. I do what I can.
Thank you.